All right, I am back, and look, it's 1:55 a.m. October 5th, 2018. I got a message from Owen, who is one of the actors or talents that was in my most recent music video. Crazy Life 2018. Here's the thing, check this out. So I told you I had dreams of Trump coming to me in a helicopter, lowering down on like a cable. I don't want to get too much stuck in these dreams things. What I realized is these people have access to, via satellite, getting into your brain and creating dreams. I don't know if they talk them, because one day when I was sleeping in my bed, I noticed several times I woke up and it sounded like they were literally describing the details of a dream into my head. So in other words, they speak it, kind of like reading a book, reading a script. What I did realize is when I do go to bed, if I wake up in the middle of the night or something, there would be times that I acknowledge that it seems like, especially in the morning, they are continuously talking nonstop, and it's all oppositional, really stupid, evil stuff. Just basically about, trying to deter me from life in general, and basically trying to mess up my thought process. In other words, my brain acknowledges that it's an intruder trying to enter into my thought process as though it's my own thoughts. It's very easy for me to tell when it's an outsider's thoughts, versus that's why I can tell, like, as I go through life, and and I was going through, this did not start until I finished singing my song, Let Your Love Flood Through My Soul, and then I was on the floor. And what I believe is, they try to make it appear as though it's because you have some kind of nervous breakdown or something like that. Well, let me tell you, this situation caused a problem, because then I went to my family doctor at Five Rivers, and that Five Rivers turned into an emergency room visit at Good Sam Hospital. At Good Sam ended up to that behavior unit where the doctor kicked me out. Now, in my opinion, leaders of America, that doctor should lose his license, because in the event, if I snapped, like he is in the writing he put, if I really snapped and, I explained to him as I did, then the truth of the matter is he should have either gotten another doctor, or he should have got me secured if he was really that scared. Then I should have been, in a straitjacket, I guess, or something. I was not like that. But the bottom line is, then he should have done that and ordered it. And here's the thing, I don't want that to happen, and so I would have thought about that too. But nevertheless, when he kicked me out and he asked me to leave, he already diagnosed me with a severe personality disorder, a histrionic. Now, when he did that, he only got to talk to me for less than 5 minutes, and he's kicking me out of the hospital. If I have a personality disorder and he didn't treat it to me, and he denied me my prescription the whole time I was at the hospital, by law, he just put somebody out that was a danger to the general public, which means he should be, in my opinion, incarcerated, but cited, and he should lose his license. Think about it. You have a histrionic personality disorder. They refuse to give you your prescription. He sees you in less than 5 minutes. He feels you're a threat to him and his staff. He kicks you out of the hospital. Therefore, by law, a licensed psychiatrist puts somebody dangerous out into the general public without first calming them down. I would have given anything to have a profession and a job and stuff and help a lot of people, because I care. That guy, Atindra, he's an a-hole. I want him to lose his license. I want to move to a bigger city, so this way I can hopefully communicate with transsexual doctors, because I'm learning that a poor person can become rich very quickly financially if they can get a attorney to partner up with them. I'm telling you right now, if you know the legal system, you can just sue people for everything. That's how mean people allow themselves to be. Just like that hospital, that's a lawsuit. It's huge. If you're an attorney, please call me, 937-242-2375. It's not even funny, I'm telling you. I have been going through some serious stuff since coming out in 2007. Maybe since meeting Bret Michaels, in 2006, was it? In Pottsville, what was it? Goodfellas Bar and Grill, is it? Goodfellas, do you go to Goodfellas? I used to go play there all the time. Okay, so check this out. Under Todd Michael. So check this out. Trump. No, you can't have my name, Tracilyn. It is mine. And it is trademarked, Tracilyn. Class 41 in 009. Why don't you marry somebody whose name you love and then you won't ever want to love the name of another? Okay. The thought invasion. Okay. And then also I had a dream, several dreams of like Bon Jovi I mentioned about with the piranhas and stuff like that. And I don't even want to talk about him. I don't want to mention his name. I kind of get upset when I hear his name. There to me seems to be another reason, to maybe get a PFA against him just because his name is haunting to me. Mentally, psychologically, it sets me off. And that must be because of what I endured as an adult entertainer when I was in New Jersey and abroad. And also the fact that, it freaked me out that, he's at Fountain Square talking to me. And, and look what happened with the car thing, and learning more. Wait till I start looking at his lyrics and matching them up with lyrics of songs that I wrote. I'm going to start reaching out, and I'm going to wait till you see some of this stuff. I am going to investigate Bret Michaels. I'm going to personally investigate Bret Michaels, Bon Jovi, Miley Cyrus, Toby Keith, and a whole lot of other ones that I feel very strongly most likely had some kind of direct or indirect access to me in the privacy of my home. And then I had a dream with something to do with poison, and I already talked about it, so I don't want to give it up. Ricky Rocket, if you're out there, I always wanted to meet you. I got to meet Brad, I would hope that you're not in on it, You look like a fun, good timing person. Here's the thing, the opposite of, So check this out. Shh, don't tell anybody. Now here's the thing, check this out. While I was working in the studio, at one point I had to park my car on the other side of the building. And when I did that, from where I normally park it where I can see it, no matter where I live. I have always parked my cars in visual view of one of my windows. For obvious reasons. And here's the thing, I got a knock at my door this one day when I had to park it on the other end of the building, and when I went out there, I saw that my trunk was open and my car doors were unlocked. Now, I didn't really notice anything missing, but it made me wonder, do you think these people via satellite have access to popping trunks and opening doors, unlocking them considering everything's computerized? Also, I noticed the clear coat and the peeling of it on my car pretty drastic, which seems ironic knowing that there was very little wrong with my car when I came here in the last 4 years, and this peeling of the clear coat seems that it really only started like really serious, probably this summer. It might be because of the weather, and it's a Chevy, and how many years is it? I love my Chevys, but the clear coat peeling is. I need to get it painted. I've been talking to somebody about it. Might have a wonderful deal on it coming up. It would be nice. My car needs painted bad, or I need a new car, but I'm trying to hold off. Times are kind of challenging when there's many different areas of life you need to tend to. Okay, and there's no grace with that when it comes to, getting aid, by the way. When you get assistance, you don't necessarily get what would be more suitable for today's way of living. Okay? You live in Ohio, you need a car. You need a car because your doctor's appointments, because of life. There's nothing in the area I live. When it comes to the assistance department, I'm telling you, I get $15 for groceries a month. For food. It's insane. I'm thankful for it. It's insane. Originally, they were giving me like $200 or $300 a month. Now that makes a little bit more sense, doesn't it? What do you usually eat? Be realistic. How much do you eat a month? Is it like $40, $75 a week? So it's $150, $300. Give or take. What do you think? Now, granted, everybody has a different diet, and most of the food you get at the grocery stores is toxic. Produce is the most natural source of food, and that's really technically what us as human beings eat. Okay, the rest of it has all kinds of grody stuff in it. Unnatural. With that being said, minus beans and, different things like that. And even then, but I mean, I'm not saying it. Yeah, there's toxic stuff in everything. But what I'm saying is produce, and you have beans and things like that. I don't know, is that considered produce as well? But fruits and vegetables, the purities of the earth, water, that's what we really need. And I realized a huge difference in my life when I juice. I'd make it like a banana and strawberry drink with kale in it, or a little bit of peanut butter. And I also do a lot of a salad. I try to eat a salad or drink a vegetable juice, like with cucumbers and carrots, stuff like that. Put fruit in it, like cantaloupe. That's some of my favorite drinks. So I try to do either a fruit drink, a vegetable drink, or a salad at least once a day. I'm looking to touch subjects with that because I am very, very disappointed in the respect that is given to the masses of people, considering life is very valuable. Weezer, you're great. How much money do you have a month for food, Weezer? You get $50 for your 50-song project. I can imagine what it's like. So anyway, and poison, and I don't want to talk about, any of these people. It makes me sick in the head to even acknowledge them. In my opinion, they've been on the radio. If they're in mainstream, they listen. I heard a Bon Jovi song the other day, and I'm sick of it. On the radio, I'm sick of it. I have better songs than what I hear on the radio most of the time, and it really upsets me. To each his own, okay? I really love my music, so I'm impartial to it, I guess you could say. Check it out on Facebook and check it out on YouTube. But don't look at the view counts because they change the view counts. They change the subscribers. They pretend to subscribe like maybe 10 different channels, 10 different YouTube accounts, and then they'll wait for a while and then they'll remove like 8 of them. So there's no way of knowing what's real and what's not real. And when you see a video with 2 billion views on it, laugh in the face of it. The odds of it being real is 0. Think about it. There's only 300 million people, plus a little bit, give or take, in America supposedly counted for. And I guarantee you those 300 million people aren't watching that video. Whoever it was that had 2 billion hits on their music video, I'm telling you, I don't even know who the heck you are, and I never heard the song before in my life. But I heard about that, and that's BS. How does it feel to know that they make stuff up as they go? Woo, you're really hitting them now. Wow. Meanwhile, they know there's only 16 people that watched it in the last six days. And that's because they kept hitting share. Now check this out. Okay, now we're getting into some other stuff. I mentioned about Facebook and stuff, show videos. I think I was getting in here to YouTube. I don't want to keep going on the social media page. You get the point. These people were invading my storage units, my online storage. It's not even funny. I mean, serious files missing. Okay? But I keep copies. Okay? I keep copies all the time of all of my stuff, and you need to. But understand, if they can delete it off of hard drives, then they can also take that information and then in your timely of transitioning, passing on, dying, if you will, they can see to it that those hard drives are gone. My legal documents were taken since I've been here in Ohio. They do it sneaky, slowly. In other words, they were trying to erase the track that I'm a transsexual female and I used to go by Todd Michael Arndt. Okay? There's still record of it on the federal accounts. I have my birth certificate, the original one, the original Social Security card. I still have the same numbers. None of that stuff doesn't change. So they're not going to let go of that. But the people who are doing this, make sure you keep track of all of your legal documentations and you keep things locked up safely. And even then, they have access, know that. We're getting ready into this right now. I wanted to show you and get off the chair because I want to get this done. But I came home one day and I put my key into the door if I can find it. I came home and my door was unlocked, okay? Okay, here we go. How you doing? I went to a local store, okay, not so long ago. And what I do, I turn it and I check it like this. That means it's locked. When I came home, I put my key in and I realized this. It was unlocked. So obviously I came in here and I'm thinking to myself, did somebody enter into my apartment? And the answer is, I'm so used to these people stalking me that I'm not really scared. I'm actually upset because I know who it is. And I have ideas of the names of the people who are tied to it. The problem is, who do you talk to in this country that considers herself a leader that is serious about doing things about things like this? People are being stalked, okay, via satellite. People in the entertainment industry where there's lots and lots of money to be made, even for one song that's a major hit. Terrorize the person, scare the person away from doing whatever they're doing, and guess what? They get the property of whatever it is they want, valuables. Now here's the thing. So notice I said about the trunk was opened, the doors were unlocked. Now there's no way I lock my doors and my trunk. That has never happened to me in my life. I am going to be 46 years old in October. I never once remember walking out to my car and the doors were unlocked and the trunk wide open. That was the first time. Okay, now this is later. This is like a year and a half later. I come home after only going to the store and I lock the door the same way all the time and I always check it. I always push on it, don't you? Always check your door, make sure it's locked. And I came home and it was unlocked, which means somebody had a key to my apartment. Now here's the possibility. Is there somebody living in this apartment building that is working on behalf of the person I met down in Nashville? If you watch for electronic harassment, you will find out that one of the girls, one of the doctors that is on there, tells you stories of where people are literally across from where she lives and they have like these laser gun type things and they can literally see through walls and stuff, and they can target her from a long distance. If there was anybody in this apartment building and they did have access to these guns or whatever they are, the equipment, to literally target you while you're sleeping, what do you do about that? I mean, how do you prove it? Because they would have got through in here in the apartment, being in here either approved by people within the government, or they would have gotten in here by fronting being a person in need of housing and on low income. Therefore being private undercovers for whoever, whatever. I realized that this did not start happening until I was living here for a couple years. They say about the possibilities online that it takes time for them to set things up. Is there things on top of the roof of this building that don't belong there, objects, and it penetrates through? The laser penetrates through the concrete and into me, like they can literally, if they're watching you via satellite because of the camera, like on Google Map, and they have the equipment that somebody climbed up there and they put it on, then they can target you. And this is what has happened. When my bedroom, when my studio was over here by the window, this is how I work when I'm at my studio. Here's my mouse. My arm is here. And you see that? That is how my arm is for hours, for the whole entire day while I'm working on my music. While I'm doing that, I started noticing like a tingling sensation in my arm, like a numbness, like a tingling and like a numbness. However, what I realized is when you move away and you walk around the apartment, it's almost like they have something pointed on you, and when you move, they have to readjust it. So like this laser, whatever it is, whenever you start to quick move around, that laser is trying to re-find you again and get you, and it attacks back here at the brain. So with that being said, I don't know if it's going through your thoughts and your thoughts are thinking that it's doing it. I never seen anything really happen with my arm, but it also goes here in my sinuses. Like there was something up my nose maybe on this right side. It's like it's stuffy. That's inflammation. By the way, I went to Take Two Healthcare in Dayton, Ohio, and they diagnosed me with high volumes of inflammation. I also have a readout, a printout of various traits of things that are going on inside of my body. Okay, but when she said that, she kind of gave me a unique look that let me know that she may or may not know about the electronic harassment, but something unique is going on inside my body. Something is causing inflammation. I never had any health problems seriously before coming here, meaning in Ohio, period. And I did realize I had sinus problems living over in Huber Heights. But the thing is, the sinus problems might have started because I was being targeted via satellite with people beaming something on my head. With that being said, I went through that when I was going through my recording session, and it was very, very frustrating to me. But I realized that day that I heard the voice and I got back up on my bed, I started realizing shortly into it, they were trying to get me to make a deal with Satan. And let me tell you something, if you ever hear voices in your head about making a deal with Satan, don't do it. This is a cult. This is Satanists. This is people who literally want to mess up your life and play head games with you. There is no Satan that's going to communicate with your head. That is real people like you and me who have the technology via satellite, and then we know how it got there via satellite, right, NASA? NASA might have been a front and there was other people who were going up there, but somebody put something way up there above the clouds and it is pointing down on humanity, especially their own choosing on who they want to target. Now here's the thing, and for whatever justified reasoning they have, it's Satanist. Anybody who wants to take other people's lives in masses like that, it's Satanist. Okay, what's the difference if somebody's doing it in war by sending soldiers with artillery, or if it's people who are using laser lights and stuff like, not laser lights, but they're using other forms of technology to beam down on the human race and try to destroy the masses. I'm telling you, in this building, I heard people, I walked in, I saw people talking to themselves. I heard people in ambulance crew saying she was in there, she was talking to herself, not me, other people. Okay, that's one of the symptoms of somebody who's being targeted. There was people who died on the upper floor, on the 6th floor, and down here and around the corner. Now, people come and go, especially if they're elder, they're retired, they don't really exercise that much and stuff. But I'm telling you, in my opinion, I'm convinced after I seen what I seen, that people's brains are being targeted, and what they do is they try to speed up the transitional process. In other words, your life. If you notice, not too many of the hospitals are downsizing, and more people are staying at home. It would be interesting, and if I don't recall, I remember hearing something about Dayton, Ohio, and some kind of bizarre account or count for a lot of human bodies. Supposedly that they didn't have enough space. I don't know if this is true or not, but I remember hearing about them not having enough place for the bodies that were being discovered. I don't know how many people are dying in Dayton every week. Now, I'm not saying it's masses and I don't want to scare anybody, but this is what I heard somewhere on the internet, on the radio. This was a while ago, about a year and a half ago I heard this, and it was in passing. In my opinion, I don't know if it's a government thing or not. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's another country that's attacking on humanity here in America, but I know I'm somebody who is acknowledging myself that there is something going on in my head. And I am convinced, that people in the music and entertainment industry have it. And it's obvious. I mean, the 50-song project thing and other little things that I have shown you is plain evidence that Tracilyn at least has the appearance of being used as a resource. When I was in my room, this is my bedroom. It's actually a living room, but I converted it into my bedroom. When I was in here and they were communicating with my minds for 6 weeks almost, I would say almost exactly 6 weeks, I was pretty much bedridden. I felt like I was going crazy. Is this real? Could people really be playing with your thoughts? It's almost like there's somebody in there communicating, like a communication device. And they're actually communicating with your brain instead of with your audible voice. It's not audible, it's in your thoughts. Okay? So this kind of freaked me out. And I was like, I really couldn't believe, like, why would the government do this to me? What did I ever do? I never did anything. I was an adult entertainer. That was pretty much it. I accepted myself as a transitional existence. I never did anything to purposely hurt anybody. I'm just trying to live my life. But let me tell you something. I started realizing that I need to go to my doctor, and that's when I ended up going up there, and then the doctor told me I was lying to him about this, and he kicked me out. Wasn't that nice of him? While I was here too, they kept trying to get me to make a deal with Satan. I got down on my knees, and basically I was supposed to give my life to Satan. And the answer was no. I invite Jesus Christ to remain in my life. I am not giving my life to Satan. I mentioned that I made a deal like that years ago, witchcraft, and it was foolish. And the bottom line is I've given my life to Jesus Christ. And I'm never going to change that. Christ is the answer to life. It's the only way for me. I don't know how other people can get through this life without living in the fruits of the Spirit. It's very challenging at times otherwise. That's where all my joy is in love, unconditional. I am not the example, but Jesus is, and I keep reminding myself to return back to Jesus whenever I feel myself slipping, whether lacking patience. Everything I read in the Bible, to me, I've realized that it is really true. It's in alignment with everything I'm coming to learn as some form of truth. Now, so that happened here. Now, here's the thing. Check this out. I want to see what's on my list yet. As you can see, my bed's up. I'm not really using it right now. I'm trying to stay calm today. This is not the actual key to my apartment. It's a key to something from years ago that is non-existent today. I just kept that. Okay, so I'm not going to show the entire key, but here's the key. Here's a key. Now, in my opinion, when I first moved here, I don't know if the actual lock on my front door was changed. In Pennsylvania, when a tenant moves into an apartment, if I'm not mistaken, it is in order that for the safety of the tenant, that the lock actually be changed for the new tenant. Upon signing at the lease, it's supposed to be, if I'm not mistaken, included. And if it is not, most people obviously did do it. And if it's not included in the lease, it really should be something by law that it be included when a tenant moves into any new apartment dwelling. By law, there should be a brand new lock for the tenant's apartment. Why wouldn't you do that? In the event that somebody makes their way in, just because it's against the law to enter into a property doesn't mean that it's going to stop somebody from doing it. I'm learning that. When I found out my door was unlocked, the first thing I thought of is what? Because they watch me via satellite, they could have easily done a background check and found out who once leased this apartment, rented it, and they could have, if they did or whatever reason, they might have had a leftover key, maybe, had a key. They could have either the people invading my privacy could have either taken the key, or they could have got a duplicate made by temporarily taking the key from either maintenance or anywhere. They could have tracked it down somehow. or if there's other means of them being able to pick to enter in. I don't know how they entered into my apartment. I'm not saying that the other tenant did it. I'm saying that somehow, some way, they got a key to this apartment. It was not a forced break-in. So they had to use a key or pick the lock. It doesn't look like it'd be that easy of a lock to pick, but who knows how skilled some people are. Now, with that being said, I never really worried about stuff like that before in my life, because I usually don't have extreme high valuables just sitting out. Okay? With that being said, the lock ended up getting changed, thank goodness, shortly after. And I made a report with the police station and stuff. And here's the thing. What do you think about that? Imagine coming home and finding out. And the thing is that one file was missing off of my hard drives and stuff. So for all I know, these people are coming into my apartment whenever they feel like it. They know when I'm gone because they watch me. And if I'm driving and I'm miles away from here and I'm going to be gone for a few hours, that's when they get into people's homes. It's people who have technology to watch. And they can be anywhere in the world, I think. Maybe anywhere in the United States. And they can be watching your house. How do you feel about that? Watching your house, and when everybody's out of the house, if they want to, they can have somebody else now come in. They know perfectly well when you're going to return. How does a rich man get rich here on earth? We might be surprised how the 1% actually become. What they say 1%, do you really think it's 1%? Who is this 1%? Do you believe everything you hear about that? I don't like to get too much into it. I love life. So that's what I'm here centered on for myself. And obviously I don't like being harassed. Okay, so we talked about the legal documents. I have a filing cabinet. My birth certificate was replaced. That was taken while I lived at Huber Heights. It was replaced several days after the gentleman who I lived with at Huber Heights, my daddy. When he was here visiting me not so long ago, it was shortly after that, I was in my filing cabinet and there it was, my birth certificate. I'm not saying that he put it there. If somebody was watching and they seen it, don't be so sure that they can't try to, like they're really skilled and talented at messing up people's lives and relationships. Don't always assume, especially if you're a writer, an artist, if you're a transsexual, if you're anything that does not conform to what society's very, very, very norm, which is now becoming minimal, is. In other words, if you are a very active, very high energetic speaker or artist or expresser in any way, dance, just know that, especially in the adult entertainment industry as well, you may be being watched really, really close. Stay unified with people that you feel you can trust. And if they start having abnormal behavior and it doesn't seem like they're being as nice to you as they once were, it might be that people are tampering with their thoughts. And I know that seems weird, doesn't it? Look at it like this. It might be Satan. Okay, did you ever hear of Satan? Satan is all the evil things of the earth. I was never taught that Satan is really another life form like myself who has equipment and can get into my thought process and the thought process of others. Look at it like this. It's a dark, evil force that has the ability to get into our brains. The reason for people's sadness, the reason for people's madness, the reason for people's surrendering and giving up and walking away from relationships or business opportunities or you name it. That's why it's very important. Do a double check and a recheck, quadruple check. Are you sure before you walk away from something you love or someone you love? Is that what you really want to do, or is that what Satan's army wants you to do? The government assistance that is available for people, I want to make this clear. I was never on welfare. But I knew people who were, lots of people who were, and I think my mom was on some form of assistance. So therefore I was on it as a child, okay? But I'm convinced that people on assistance are also targeted, okay? In other words, they want to lead people into the trenches, and in the trenches is where they want to try to finish them all. Like I'm explaining about this harassment, if you go online and you listen to other people's testimonies, you will hear that my testimony is very similar. What I've realized is it's like a very small, minute electrical current that seems to generate and go through your body. I realized at one point that it actually literally smelled like my brain was melting. It was on fire, like inside, like it was burning. It didn't burn, but it smelled like it. It was absolutely hideous. And there's nothing I can do. And I was looking on my body to see, is there anything, any signs, any visual signs? Because just the thought of it might be all that it is. Okay, if you're targeted, I don't know if they just signal things off in your brain and then it appears that way to you, meaning it ignites your senses, or if they can send some kind of asphotic, kind of smell to you. I don't know what all this entails. It would be nice to connect with other people that are aware of this and different approaches they are. As it feels like a mild electrical current going through you. And they target your body. My whole right side of my body right now is like my nose feels stuffy. Now understand, I've been going to a sinus doctor for almost a year and a half. I had him check out my nose. There's nothing really major. I was on all kinds of allergy medication. I would break out in sores in my mouth. They were hideous. Black sores from taking this medication from Kroger's Pharmacy. I have pictures on my on Facebook if they're still there and they didn't take them down. I was taking different prescriptions and seeing different doctors, various doctors, even take two, who diagnosed me with having high volumes of inflammation. Okay? Not only that, it was like back pressure that ends up going up here in my eye, right here. Now I don't know if there was a chip or something that was placed up my nose for people who want to monitor me. During my time that I was living in hotels and stuff, and I checked into the Good Samaritan Hospital in Lebanon, Pennsylvania on 422 going eastbound, which would be Cumberland Street. When I was in that emergency room and they injected me with Haldol to calm me down, I fell asleep for a season of time. When I woke up, you can ask my sister, I told her I had a sensation that they put a chip inside of me, and I was ecstatic over it. Ecstatic. It may be that these people wanted to signal it off in my head as though they did put a chip in. In my opinion, we all been chipped at birth. Okay? I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's a combination of things they put in our food and our drinks, or if it's things they spray in the air. You heard about all of this, and if you remember seeing about Illuminati on like the Alex Jones show, or you remember seeing that they had tanks and they were setting up for war. Let me ask you something. Let me ask Donald Trump why another good reason would be to put up the wall down in between Mexico and America. I would tell you so that Americans don't run in the event that they become electronically harassed and tortured. Makes it a lot harder if there's a wall down in Mexico. Wait till he says something, or somebody, a president, starts saying, we got the wall up in Mexico now, let's put the wall up in Canada, right, Donald Trump? That way Americans can't run north and they can't run south. In the event that people literally want to torture their minds. Because that's what Satanists do. Satanists don't want to just kill people. They want to torture people. Consider when the president says about building a wall, not to mention there's a lot of other serious needs for life of the people in America. Okay? I can give you a whole list of them because of things that I've been through. Our freedom and our life entitlement has been stripped for many, maybe centuries, maybe since the beginning of time. At some point in American history, a lot of our freedoms and rights have been stripped from us. It's time to get back our right to live freely a beautiful life. Let's see. So for the true needs, and I already talked about food and stuff like that. I learned about food pantries. I never heard about this before. I'm learning as I go. And there's a lot of times, and I'll show you, there's a lot of times you get food and it's fine, right? But the honesty of it is, it's a lot of processed foods. And it's foods that are getting close to expiration in a lot of situations. I'm not complaining about it. I am thankful. And sometimes you get organics, and sometimes you get things with like no salt and no sugar. But you gotta be careful that you stay away from high sugaries, high sodiums, and high fats when it comes to food. Okay? We need the most natural resource, which means our government should see that when especially you're on assistance, that you can go into any grocery store and get fresh produce. You should have a budget to be able to live on fresh produce. Fruits and vegetables, fresh water, the things the body can really, really utilize as energy. That's why we eat. We have grown accustomed to eating because of flavor. We have grown accustomed to eating because of what something looks like. We have grown accustomed to what it feels like on our taste buds. Did I say that? Our taste buds. The problem is, did you ever notice what it does to our pudgy wudgies? Did you ever feel, oh, I'm tired now? Why? You just got done eating. It's like filling up the gas tank for your car. Food is energy, baby. That's why we have it. And that's why it's nice when you figure things out for yourself that you eat in moderation. What it is that you need, the vitamins and the nutrients. And what we need the most, if you realize, because the world around us is how much percentage of water? I drink this water, but I'm not saying it's the best. This is what I drink. We want the most purified water that there is. I used to live with on my grandma on the weekends as a kid growing up, and we used to go to Schaeferstown in Pennsylvania, and there used to be a spring of water that came off of the mountain. And let me tell you, that water was cold, and we used to fill up our gallon jugs, and that's what I drank, mountain water. I'm proud of myself now because my grandma had well water, and that well water wasn't healthy to drink, but you could use it to take a shower and stuff like that. Now here's the thing, and then the city took over and stuff like that. You know, of course they forced it. You know, there was no doubts about it, or you get a citation and stuff. You had to switch over to city water. Was that right? Was that wrong? What do you think about stuff like that? You know, now here's the thing. I was very proud because, you know, I look back now and I'm like, wow, I literally drank mountain water, you know? And that may have a lot to do with a lot of things when it comes to me, just the way I am, you know? I always felt that I had wonderful health and everything. That is until I came out here, Joyce Myers, and I couldn't get a lot of my true needs met. And I was getting my butt kicked because I was trusting God. And in the Old Testament, God destroyed a lot of people's lives and flooded things out, and then Jesus Christ was created. So we don't want to just trust God, in my opinion, even though the Bible says it. I'm telling you, I won't just trust God, because to me sometimes I think that is Satan. I live in the fruits of the Spirit of Jesus Christ, and I've learned I have no other choice but to trust that. That is the best way I'm going to get through this very challenging life. It wasn't so challenging before I read the Bible and I became dependent in my way of thinking. And I'm convinced that when I started to pray, that there were people who were listening to me every day. Okay? And don't be so sure that they don't push of getting rid of everything that you have, selling everything, and becoming what? Dependent so bad that you have no other choice but to become what the world calls as a prostitute. It's called a survivor. And now you will use your body and use what you got to survive another day. Whether it's living with someone, whether it's to get some car work done, whether it's to live in a hotel or get some food. Don't ever knock on somebody who's using what they have to survive. You might see them walking down the street. Okay? Be nice to them. Who knows what they're going through? I'm not saying that you might want them to be your best friend, but the truth of the matter is we don't know what in the world they're going through, and it should not be your government's right or entitlement to tell you that you can't freely exchange an agreement that I will lick your face for $20 with my genitals. Okay? It's not up to the government whether or not you agree with that. Now, when somebody forces you, that's when the law comes into effect. We have a long ways to go with rights that have been taken away from the human life. Stand up. Stand up. It's time that a new generation comes in and says, enough of the BS. We don't have to live a poor, in poverty life, having very little, and 1% having everything. Why don't we acknowledge that they're the ones who keep forcing laws upon us so that we can hardly even breathe? I have stories to tell to you that I was shocked when I found out that basically the setup that ends up happening for somebody for their life support is something that leads people into more of a death trap than it does to prolong their life. We get one life in this form, and we should be helping each other to maximize and fulfill our life. And some people may need assistance temporarily, and maybe someday they'll be able to become, and when they become, they can repay some other way, another way, maybe to someone else. Not always you paying back to exactly who or what has actually helped somebody. I'll get into that subject sometime. I'm very disappointed in things that I have learned. When I go through the budget and I share with you what means I've been giving, what limitations I'm now on, I mean, I could talk all night long about this. I'm very disappointed. I should be able to go right down the road to Kroger's to a grocery store that's only a block and a half from me and get groceries every week if I want to, right? With a reasonable budget on my EBT, I have $15. I go to food pantries and I use my other means of finances that are coming to me, which are not really, and technically when you look at the bigger picture, should not be used for food. I should have a food card. Okay? Since that's the system we're running under right now. There's other ways, and I have ideas for that. Now, it starts with a lot of stop being selfish, is what it starts with. Why are your politicians making 6 digits a year, and the average person's lucky to be making $7 or $8 an hour, 20 hours a week? Why is that? Ask your politician why he's worthy of 6 digits a year, and you're worthy of, what? $12,000, $15,000 a year, and then walk him out to your roadways and show him the sidewalks. Take him through town and show him all the needs that are there. Then take him to the grocery stores and start showing him all the toxic food that's actually being contained from within. He's worth 6 digits? No, he's not. Not doing his job, why isn't he fired? So I'm very grateful because I do get to go to pantries, and there's a lot of them here in Ohio, and I'm going to make a list eventually and put them on my website, the ones I like to go to. And I'll give a little bit of hints about things that you should look for, etc., etc. One of the things I do not get when I go to the food pantries anymore, I made it a point, most likely not, is bananas, because the bananas are usually end up spoiling within a day or two. And when they do, because if pretty much the grocery stores start to give donations and charitable donations to food pantries, and food pantries are a place that provide free food for the people in need in the local community, they wait till they give the food to almost the expiration, and maybe sometimes the expiration. Look, I'm not complaining about it at all, and I don't ever want to complain about it. It's food. The problem is when you get some things like fruits and vegetables, which in my opinion is what we need the most, the problem is it's ready to spoil within 2 days when you get it. Now, nobody wants to go to a food pantry and wait in line for 2 or 3 hours every single day of the week. It's bad enough if you do it 2 or 3 times a month. There's another way. There's lots of other ways. Another thing that happened to me since I was here is I had a refrigerator, and with this refrigerator, for some reason, this grill back here, you hear the blower? So this kept happening, and I obviously made a report. We got to call an emergency number here to have things fixed. We can't just go down and talk to the maintenance or the manager and submit a form online or submit a form in person. We got to literally call an emergency number. The emergency number then calls over to our building, and then they put in, and can I tell you, it gets taken care of when it gets taken care of. in a situation that is an emergency, like that kind of emergency, they usually call within, a reasonable amount of time, meaning within a couple hours. Usually, I would say within a couple hours that day. So yeah, I gotta keep an eye on it. The thing is I got a brand new refrigerator. Brand new. By GE, by the way. Hey GE, I had this refrigerator and it was probably only a few months into it. A brand new refrigerator. And guess what? I'm gonna share the video. There's something back there, the cooler or something, it gets really hot and it gets really, really, really red. Okay? Like it burns, and it's heat, it's hot. So what I've learned is it's the timer. This is what the maintenance man shared with me. There's a timer on this refrigerator. On these GE's, General Electric Appliances. Now look, and once this is turned a little bit, it clicks off the timer. For some reason that got stuck. And then finally that red glow goes away. Okay, but that's pretty scary to live like that. Knowing I don't know what to do about it. I called the maintenance came up and he figured it out. It's right away. The timer's out, either shot or it just, I don't know. I'm assuming that it's shot. The timer, he said if it keeps happening, the timer needs to be replaced. This is a brand new refrigerator from GE right here. Check it out. I love the refrigerator otherwise for the apartment and everything. It's really nice. It keeps things cool. I've been having problems with my temperature gauge here. Look what I got. That only seemed to last like about a year at Walmart. Did you ever notice when you buy stuff at Walmart, it usually only lasts for about a year, year and a half, and you gotta buy the same stuff over again? How many times in a lifetime do we gotta buy the same things from Walmart? Why is that? Walmart, what's going on? Why can't we have quality stuff? So we can buy it once, maybe in 5 or 10 years, or how about once in a lifetime? And then we can move on to other things that we need in our life. I think if I did make a distribution deal in the music business and Walmart ever stocked my CDs in their store, it would probably be the only item in the whole entire store of quality. That's how serious I take my music. The reason I was sick of listening to music a lot of times on the radio is because the quality diminished. It has most certainly got better, but most of the better music is found in independent artists, and I'm learning why. It's because independent recording artists take their music very, very seriously, and the people in the commercial industry, they create and they make stars like Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift, etc., etc. If you listen to people like Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift, Miley Cyrus, Bon Jovi. Listen to these people that are in what's considered mainstream music. Listen to the quality of their recordings. What you do is you take quality recordings from independent recording artists. I mean independent recording artists that are serious about their music. Now you listen, and I'm telling you, the independent recording artists' music recordings are going to sound way better. Do you know why? Because people like Steven are invading people's privacy that are independent recording artists, and they're using ideas from these artists, and they're rushing really quick so they can put stuff out there in the mainstream. They do it for totally different reasons. This is why a lot of their music, in my opinion, sucks. If a band only has 1 or 2 really hot songs on their album and the rest of it's not that good, then why do they even release the album and not just 2 songs on whatever they want to call it? The 2-song CD, MP3. I'll never understand that myself. Hey Elvis Enterprise, look at this. I bet you want to take this from my apartment, don't you? This is worth some serious cash, isn't it? Yes, it is. You can laugh if you want. This is where my Elvis red velvet ice cream art was. Look, here's the matching cup. It's white. Good. That's what I said when I ate Elvis. Another thing with when I call the emergency, I don't know what happened. I only had to call them a few times. One of them was for the tile. And I ended up, having to fix that myself. But Another one was, I don't know why maintenance came in here and put a hole in my wall for sure. I don't know. But I remember one day maintenance came here and they put a hole in my wall. Now that was over 2.5 years ago, approximately. They came in, they put a hole in my wall, and they went in this area. I don't know if they were working on cable or what it is. I don't really know what's in there. But can I tell you, there was a hole there for a while, for a long while. I didn't want to complain, but I mentioned it to him, and can I tell you, I had to keep on bugging and bugging and bugging, and instead of actually fixing it, or blending it in with the rest of the wall. See that? Now, in my opinion, I know that the people are very nice, and I know they're very swamped and busy. I don't know what the answer is. But my question is, do you think that when you rent an apartment out, no matter if it's low income or not, there's no difference. Renting is renting an apartment. You're a tenant. At what point does a tenant rent a home out, and as it is, it should remain until the tenant leaves? It's the same. What do you think about that? They came up here, and for whatever reason, they had to work on the inside that door, and they put a hole in the wall, and I cleaned up a little bit of the mess here. I asked them when they were going to fix it. They said, fix the hole in the wall. They said the next day. The next day turned into months, and it continued on, and now it's almost 2 years. And I finally got, I kept bugging, mentioning it to them, and they finally came up, and then they put a patch over it. I don't have much in my life. A lot of it is the neglectness of others. It's not that I don't have talent. It's not that I don't have the abilities or something to offer in exchange for a beautiful life, or I'm not willing to work and stuff like that. It's things that I've been through. And, and the bottom line is no. Now I'm here. I would like to keep an apartment as nice as I can. It's not much, but, I'm looking forward to move, by the way. I did not have the opportunity to pick an apartment here in Dayton. It's nobody's fault. It's that, except for the owner I lived with over in Huber Heights. He pushed me out the door. I did not have the proper help to get an apartment, to talk to somebody. I would not move here, and I'll tell you why. I came here, and I was mentioning about this chair, and this is when you were allowed to smoke cigarettes in the apartment building. No more, okay? I sat here and I looked out the window, smoking cigarettes, stressed out, because I didn't even want to live in Dayton. I don't know if you can see. There it is. Okay, there's a beautiful view out there. I can see that way out there. Way down there is the city. Now, technically, some people would say it's not that far down, but when you're looking on a day-to-day basis, an apartment building is kind of on a hill on Salem Avenue, and it's downhill the whole way down to the city. On a bicycle, that's my bike, it would take approximately 20-25 minutes to get there. Now, I'm youthful, and I don't ride very fast, nice pace. You're looking at about 20-25 minutes. Maybe a half an hour. You wait for a bus, it's approximately the same, believe it or not. Why is that? Because you go pretty much the same, and the bus got to stop, and it goes and stops and goes and stops and goes. Red lights and stuff like that. Now here's the thing. Now check this out. It's approximately about the same. Might take a little bit longer on a bicycle, by like 10 minutes or so. I realized living here that I wanted to move to a bigger city. California's out because I realized that people are literally stalking me and may even be trying to harm me. Obviously, I almost died on the Cosmopolitan Bridge. With that being said, I was going to move to Cincinnati. I wanted to live in a bigger city. I didn't want to live in Dayton. I came out here because I needed assistance. I didn't know how to get assistance, government, leaders of this country, Joyce Myers. I was taught to trust God, and God is everything, and if you trust everything, you could end up in the trenches. I'm not saying I did end up there, but you could end up in some pretty pathetic places, and I didn't say I ended up there. I don't know the right words to say. I end up being frustrated every day. Because why? Because I know that with the limited means to be able to do for myself appropriately, I should have been educated even in school to know how to get my needs met in the time of need. I didn't even know about food pantries. I had to figure it out years into life. I just figured it out recently. This year. I didn't even know what a food pantry was. Why is it called a food pantry and not food donations? Free food giveaways. I don't know what to call it. Something that is recognizable. Food pantries, I'm thinking it must be a place that you go to a store and they have food in their pantries. You know, I don't know. That's what they call them in Dayton, Ohio. Okay, I wasn't born and raised from here, and I didn't have no one to talk to about getting my life straightened out. Right? I didn't even know about social work or nothing. We heard the story about my social worker experience. They're closed now, I think. We heard about what happened with, Heidi and Kim, and nobody's telling me how to get my needs met. It's really, once I do it, it's quite easy to tell people how to do it. But they were withholding information. Hey, Donald Trump, I'm thinking now that I'm going to skip the whole California and Nevada. I tried to move back to Lebanon, Pennsylvania, but your government laws don't protect the people who want to navigate to this city or that city for mental psychological reasons. One of them is I was born and raised in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, lived there for 40 years. Now, with that being said, I didn't know how to get my needs met. I was homeless while you were going on your election, was it? You and Obama? Prior to that, we're going on your election, and I found out that a lot of the things that I was using in my daily life were being used, like, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. Why don't you let me speak with you on the next one, baby? Because I remember making what? A real homeless sign where cops ran me out of Kingdom City, Missouri with it, right? They gave me a sign when I was surrounded by 6, 7 undercover cops at McDonald's right off the off-ramp. And I came back here to Ohio and I grabbed that sign and I used that song, I'm proud to be an American, in front of Huber Heights Walmart, where a cop pretty much came up to me and gave me a sign that it's not good for me to be there. I'm a distraction. I uploaded to YouTube, and it's funny because somebody who has access to my account took that video down, and I noticed you used it, the song, with the original singer, Lee Greenwood. You see, I noticed when I shared my life story about me growing up and my mother's relationship and all the songs and songwriters and recording artists and entertainers that I liked, they all of a sudden started showing up in mainstream, just out of nowhere. And I noticed through your election that you were using a lot of the ideas from things that I shared content on my life story. If no one believes me, listen to my life story on YouTube, listen to my 50-song project, and all the other access to what it was, and put 2 to 2 together. This person, Donald Trump, is how old? He's in his 70s. He's a very successful businessman, supposedly. He's very busy. He doesn't have time to know how to connect with the human masses in America. Therefore, he finds what? People who are in with what the heck is happening now and are artists, songwriters, artists of all kinds, actors, actresses. And then he uses their content to win the favor of the masses. Donald, is your wife a transsexual? Are you a cross-dresser, or was Obama? What's going on here? I don't know who is and who isn't. I know that Stephen was tormenting me when I was up in New York. He was trying to get me to try to figure out who's a transsexual and who isn't. And in my song, he wanted me to write what? Change my lyrics from if you're born a boy and you wear a dress to if you're a politician and you wear a dress. Okay, I don't know if you shared that you are a drag queen or if you are a cross-dresser, and that's okay if you are. I am starting to acknowledge that maybe we're all like that. We all have femme sides and we all have masculine sides. And we all use the masculine side so we can dominate and have our businesses and our livelihood be very successful. We tap into our femininity when we get off work and we're behind the scenes, and then we play kinky games like spanking one another and stuff like that, you know? I don't know if you're into that, but most likely as an adult entertainer, I have learned that most successful business people love to tap into their femininity. Now here's the thing, check this out. I don't appreciate, whether it's a president or not, some guy from New York using content that I have been putting out, trying to express and reach out to the humans myself in expressing of what it was that I was going through in life. Okay? So I don't know if Stephen has been getting it off to you or if you're even aware of it, but how does it feel to know that? You win elections by using independent recording artist content, ideas from said witch. My question would be at that point, if it's true, do you have any ideas of your own when it comes to contacting or communicating with the general masses? Is Junior going to run for presidency soon in the near future? Or is he going to give it at least a break so another president, like maybe from the Bush family, can come in and run it for about 4 or 8 years? And then, then Junior can run for it. And the American people will be excited. Woo! We're going to have another Trump in. I always wondered why. Why when other people run for presidency? Why would that be? Could it be because if they do, they are targeted by people with electronic means via satellite? One of the symptoms from somebody who's being targeted via satellite when they're sleeping in Dayton, Ohio, I have learned since coming here in 2009 and 2010, they consider Dayton, Ohio to be the bedbug capital of America. Now, why is that? Hey, Donald Trump, what do you think about a city having a reputation for being a bedbug capital of America? What would happen if in the Trump building you would find out there was an infestation of either roaches or bedbugs, like really bad? What would they do at the White House if they discovered that there is a serious outbreak of bedbugs or cockroaches at the White House? Would you get on top of it? Because this is what I found out when I moved here, and I was talking to my friend in town who happened to be living at the Biltmore. Not necessarily there, but he told me that the city has bed bugs really, really bad. So you got to pay attention to this, because bed bugs are not usually because of dirtiness. They're usually just drawn to bedding. I had a problem when I came here to my new apartment that I did not experience ever before in my life, and that is bed bugs. Bed bugs. And I don't know if I have any pictures online right now, but I did have them on Facebook. And let me tell you something. They will crawl on you, and they will suck blood out of you, and then they will crawl into, which I don't have any bed bugs right now that I can see to show you what they look like. They crawl into corners on the bed. Do you see the stains here? That was me after bleaching. That was me after bleaching my bed, because it was infested with blood stains all over it, because bed bugs are, for some reason, very gentle, and as soon as you touch them, it's almost like they pop. They squish really easily, and they're filled with blood. Now here's the thing. Why is that? Because they're sucking blood in the middle of the night, which would be me, a human being. When people are zapping me via satellite with like an invisible laser, you can see this stuff on my video, by the way. It does appear to be white, I guess, as it's penetrating through your skull, and it ends up wherever it goes, okay? Into the ground, wherever. The reason my bed is not together right now is because I learned while I'm laying here in bed, and they're zapping my brain, that the bed bugs evidently feel the vibrations within your body, or it sends off a scent, and the bed bugs become infested on your bed. And in the middle of the night, you'll feel them crawling on you. Sometimes they bite, and then they go and they hide and they make little babies. So evidently they like to eat blood, and then they mate, and they have a lot of babies. And they hide in the cracks of your bedding, mattress and box spring especially. And sometimes it can be a lot worse than others. Nevertheless, I ended up having bed bugs when I was over here And I thought, whoa, I might have a sinus problem because of bed bugs. And I asked the doctor, do you think my sinuses are acting up because I'm allergic to bed bugs? And he said that he'd never heard of that, but maybe. So we ran tests and we found out that I had a few common allergies of things that are around here. Dust mites, pigweed, and something else. So an exterminator came over here, and I won't use their name, I forget it right now. But the bed bug exterminator came over here. And you know what their method is, Donald Trump? Their method is, you gotta strip your complete bedding, you gotta take all of your clothing out of your closet, all of your clothing out of all of your dressers, you gotta put everything in garbage bags, and you gotta tie them up, you gotta let them sit. And let me tell you something, if it's too bad, they'll tell you, if it's too bad, you gotta throw away your furniture. It's gotta go. Your furniture. Hey, Donald Trump, do you think this is fair to people who can't afford to buy furniture? Would you buy the furniture for everybody if they had to do that? Do you think it's just to make people throw furniture away, if that would be the case? Let me ask you something else. Do you think it's just, considering they're called entitled bed bugs, do you think it's just to make people take everything out of their closets, put everything in garbage bags, and let it sit for, I don't know, how long is it? They come every 2 weeks for like 3 treatments, so is it like 6 weeks, 2.5 months? Would you like to live like that, Donald Trump? Would Junior like that? Don't you have things to do in your life other than tiptoe around garbage bags and dig through them for clothing for the next day? Because if you don't submit, when you're living in a low-income place here in Dayton, Ohio, if you don't submit, you could possibly be evicted. Imagine having the pressure of that. You mean to tell me if I don't put all of my clothing in garbage bags, me who's been through a lot, I gotta put my clothing into garbage bags and set it into the middle, stuffed animals, whatever it is. By the way, make sure you wash everything, make sure you dry everything, because the ultimate goal is to kill the bed bugs. We want to get rid of them. And then, worst case scenario, they'll take sprays and they're spray inside your dressers. They're spray on the furniture, and they're also spray the bed, which they will insist in at that point that you have like what? What's beneficial is bed bug sheets, which are like zippers. You got to put casings on your bed. This way, if there's any bed bugs in your beds, it will help to smolder them over a season of time, therefore killing them and ridding them from your premises. Now, it's not a 100% guarantee, so that's why they come every 2 weeks to respray. Meanwhile, do you sleep on your bed, Donald Trump? Well, I don't. I don't sleep on my bed. Not during those times. Where am I supposed to sleep? On the floor? Look at the floor. I don't even have carpet here. This is like concrete. Hey, Donald Trump, listen to that. Should I sleep on that baby? I want to show you where I sleep. And by the way, I have carpet in my room, my studio, because music is therapy for me, and I don't really know if that carpet's allowed to be here or not. I don't care. I need to be able to have some kind of reasonable means of living, okay? If we're not careful and we give people who have government contracts too much leeway, they're going to step all over the tenants. Donald Trump, we don't want to do that. Right, Governor of the state of Ohio? I don't even know what your name is, and I don't care what your name is. Chances are, I don't want to meet you because a lot of the laws in the state of Ohio make me mad because they're against the life I believe in. Kind of like the open and obvious law. Kind of like changing the birth certificate, correcting it on the birth certificate, the gender status, considering we're psychological mental existences, not a physical. This is what I sleep on, Governor. See that? Down here on the floor, it's an air mattress that also sits on the carpet. And by the way, because I live in a concrete building, it can be very cold on the joints. In other words, I don't have a real bed to sleep on. I do. Got to be careful that I don't sleep on it right now. Because why? I'm going to tell you why. Because one time, the guy came over, and they said that, and I witnessed it, and I was like, Why do I have to take all my clothing and put it in a garbage bag if they're called bed bugs? I better listen. I got it in writing. It's in my filing cabinet. I could be evicted. Okay. Shit. Are you kidding me? By the way, did you see out my window? And did you hear about the road in front of the house? And did you find out that there's limited parking here? Does anybody here in the leadership care? No, they don't. The leadership in this township, the leadership in this state, the leadership in the city does not care. Do you know why, Donald Trump? Because I'm convinced that rich people like you don't care about people like me. And you use me for resources to win elections. Because more people are like me, you big meanie. Is Donald Trump Jr. going to use me as a resource? Because if he is, let's get this straight. Come to my face and take something from me, kid, and see what happens. Donald Trump Jr., you will not be like your dad and use me as a resource, or I'm coming to see you face to face, rich boy. See, some of us are rich in material things and some of us are rich in the mind. I don't like people, especially rich people who have lots of money, millions, using people like me, by the way, who should be a multimillionaire by now in life, simply because I'm a great songwriter. I have a lot to offer, a heck of an entertainer. Because of what happened, I realized I don't ever want to complain about bed bugs again. Okay? I don't want to live like that. I want a home, damn it. Not to mention, see that? Not there necessarily, but at some point, the exterminator came in and he squashed a bed bug on my brand new sheets that I bought with a little bit of money the taxpayers of the great country of the United States had given me to live on. We can use it that way now. It's my entitlement. However, how do you feel about that, taxpayers? I've been through a lot, and now this exterminator guy comes in and he squishes a bug, causing a blood stain. I just paid for them. They were like $40 each. Don't have that much to live on. I cleaned most of the stuff off. I bleached stuff here recently. We got to get ready to change this over.